Boeing said on Tuesday that it will deliver 130 planes during the first quarter of 2023. This will put it ahead of its peer Airbus, which delivered 127 jets during the same time period. Boeing delivered about 27% more planes than it did the year before, when it only sent out 95 planes. In March, the company in the U.S. that makes planes gave 64 of them to their owners, compared to the same month the year before when 41 planes were delivered. This is a 36% rise. The MAX version of the 737 made up 52 of the planes, and each of the United Airlines and Southwest Airlines got 12 MAX jets. After a slow January and February, wide-body sales started to pick up. This was partly because the Federal Aviation Administration put a stop to 787 Dreamliner deliveries in February, which lasted for several weeks. The FAA gave the business permission to start shipping in the middle of March, and 7 Dreamliners were sent to their clients just last month. 3 777s, 1 767 freighter, a P-8 Poseidon, and Boeing's first 767 arrival of the year were among the other planes that were sent out. After Boeing fixed a problem with the quality of its fuel tanks, this delivery was made. Airbus said on Tuesday that it delivered 127 jets during the first quarter of its fiscal year. A story from Reuters that came out on April 7th said that quarterly deliveries were down 11% from the same time last year, when there were 142 physical deliveries, or down 9% from the same time last year when there were 140 deliveries after being adjusted. Over the past 3 months, the deliveries that Boeing and Airbus have made have been very similar to each other. In January and February, a total of just 66 jets were supplied by both companies to their customers. Airbus wants to deliver 720 planes this year, while Boeing only wants to deliver at least 400 737 MAXs and 70 787s. Airbus has the most business planes on the market. With 113 737 MAX planes already shipping in 2018, Boeing is well on its way to meeting the goal it set for itself. But the company has only made 11 787s so far, which means they will have to speed up if they want to reach that goal. Boeing got orders for a total of 60 planes in March, including 40 MAX models and 20 787 models. This number went down because 16 orders for MAXs and 6 orders for 787s were canceled, leaving a net of 38 orders. 2 people who know about the situation told Reuters that Boeing Company plans to start making 52 of its best-selling 737 MAX jets a month again by January 2025. This is part of the company's plan to get back to full production after 2 major crashes in the COVID-19 breakout cut production. A source who did not want to be identified said that the company has been growing the number of jets it makes every month in recent months. At the time, Boeing makes about 31 of these planes per month. Reuters said that the company has decided not to say anything about the recent events. The fleet of Boeing 737 MAX planes was involved in a number of deadly accidents and had to be stopped for a long time before problems could be fixed. It's possible that the greater need for airplanes in a world without COVID is another reason why people want faster delivery times again. We've already told you that Boeing delivered 130 planes in the first 3 months of 2023, just one more than Airbus, which delivered 129 planes in the same time period. 64 of the deliveries were made in the month of March. 52 of these quarterly deliveries were a type of plane called the 737 MAX. These numbers show that the company is doing well and that production levels are likely to go up in the near future. Even so, the supply chain still has problems that need to be fixed before the numbers can be met. Boeing ran out of parts because there were not enough skilled workers to make them. When trying to keep up with demand, it can be hard to train enough people quickly. But its competitor Airbus is also making more planes. This is clear from the fact that Airbus plans to build a new production line in China. Before increasing production to its final goal of 75 single-aisle planes per month in 2026, the company plans to meet its current goal of making 65 single-aisle jets per month by the end of 2024. So who won the race in the year 2022? Let's find out. Airbus and Boeing are two of the most powerful companies in the business aviation industry, so comparisons between them are inevitable. Let's look at this and a few other things to figure out which original equipment maker or OEM had the best year in 2022. Yesterday, both OEMs shared information about their orders and deliveries for the whole year of 2022, putting in work with the numbers. Starting with the American aerospace giant Boeing, the company shipped a total of 480 planes in 2022, according to the most recent data. This is 41% more than the 340 it did in 2021. It is also the company's busiest year for deliveries since 2018, when it sent out 806 business planes, which was also its busiest year for deliveries. In 2022, the 737 family was the most successful for Boeing in its market. 387 of the 480 sales, or 81%, were 737s. On the other side of the Northern Atlantic Ocean, in the year 2022, the global European company Airbus finished 661 deliveries. Even though it fell short of its goal of 700 planes, this number was an 8% increase from 2021 and put it comfortably ahead of Boeing. Narrow bodies were still an important part. In 2017, 516 of the 661 planes delivered, or 78% of the total, were from the A320 family. During this time period, Boeing received a total of 935 orders. When cancellations and changes were taken into account, this number went down to a net total of 774. During this time, Airbus got a total of 1,078 gross orders, but only 820 net orders in the end. During a conference call held yesterday evening to talk about the news, the chief commercial officer of Airbus said that cancellations were about the same as in previous years and were mostly expected. Last year, both sides had to deal with a lot of hard problems. Even though both Airbus and Boeing did better in 2021, 2022 was a hard year for both of them. In fact, they and the industry as a whole had to deal with problems like what Guillaume Faury, CEO of Airbus, said: COVID, the war in Ukraine, energy supply problems, inflation, and in general tight labor markets. On a smaller scale, the fact that Boeing's 787 planes were not being delivered was one of the biggest problems the company had to solve. This started in May of 2021, when the FAA was worried about problems with the quality control on the Dreamliner assembly line. Even so, exports started up again in August, and by the end of 2022, a total of 31 had been sent out. In the meantime, Airbus is in a legal battle with Qatar Airways over the surface damage that happened to the A350 planes that the company used. When cracks were found on a single plane in January 2021, the disaster began. Since then, it has grown into a much bigger problem. The disagreement between the two sides has even led to the cancellation of court decisions. Even though the trial is set to start in June, there is still a long way to go. Even though both of these companies had problems in 2022, which may have kept the year from being the big comeback they had hoped for, 2022 was still better than 2021 for both of them. In every case, this was a good effort. But in a field like commercial aviation, the big players are usually ranked based on the most important facts and figures in the field. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more.